Two budget shortfalls put the Miles City Police Department behind on cases.
I will probably run out of funding to put fuel in the cars by mid to late spring.
With officers laid off and failing equipment, the chief puts into context the trouble they're facing. Plus, trying to flip the supermajority.
I would say your county, Yellowstone County, is probably the most important county.
We take a look at local legislative races and the story they could tell for the upcoming legislative session. The MTN 430 News starts right now. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger. We begin with a look at a breaking point when it comes to public safety in Miles City. Recently, the police department was asked by city leaders to let go of 3 positions, leaving the agency scrambling to figure out how to maintain essential services. As our Andrea Lutz found out, funding is a constant puzzle for Police Chief Doug Kolumbic, who says he's going to run out of money to put gas in his patrol cars by early spring.
It's another day on shift.
This one has 182,000.
For Miles City Police Sergeant Mike Murphy.
So if we go to start it and it just grinds it, just bear with me.
Grinding to a start is his 07 Crown Vic, a patrol car you don't see often these days.
Yep.
When did police departments start phasing these out, would you say?
Probably 10 years ago.
But this is what the police department budget allows.
We've got guys running Crown Vics because we have no choice. It's going to be tough. I will probably run out of funding to put fuel in the cars by mid to late spring is what I'm looking at.
Police Chief Doug Kolumbic says his agency is operating in critical financial constraints.
The funding for this police department has decreased for several years where it's really difficult to make ends meet, just like a family trying to survive.
The city is facing a budget crisis. First, it was a hiring freeze at the fire department. Now police officers laid off.
Now we're an agency that's supposed to be fully staffed at 17, and we got cut down to 14 due to budget cuts, lack of funding.
At a time when he says felony caseloads have only increased, Detective Chris Fetty is seeing it firsthand.
It's a conflict for me because I want to turn over every stone. I want to find every shred of evidence and detail to a case. I don't always get that opportunity because I've got 6 more new cases coming in.
Officers say they want to do more, but since letting an officer go, it's been hard.
So morale's been a big challenge around here.
The department even has new cars, but they just sit there because there's no funding to equip them.
I can tell you this, we can't afford to be cut anymore, because it's a safety concern, not just for the public, but for the officers as well.
It can also
Back on patrol, Sergeant Murphy says when the public calls for help, they'll respond.
One car has a stress ball shoved between the window and the dash to keep the dash from rattling.
Even if it's not in style.
That you're one of the only departments in Montana that still has these?
Yeah, it's usually a conversation piece.
In Miles City, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Chief Kolumbic says looking for grants and donations only gets so far. He says they need a revenue solution. Now, as we reported before, the Miles City Mayor, Daines Andrews, says the city's budget crisis came from a few reasons: little professional oversight on department budgets over the years, cost of living raises for union members, and overestimated city expenditures.
The afternoon sunshine felt pretty good today, but the morning definitely on the cool side, and it looks like those temperatures are going to stay fairly consistent. But off and on as we go through the week, we're going to see a chance of some showers, higher elevation snow, even a little rain snow mix for the lower elevations. We'll plot out the days that's most likely for you in a few minutes. And really, it looks like this pattern is going to go for a little while, at least into the middle of next week. Have all the details on the 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Election Day is now less than a week away. Montana's U.S. Senate race is garnering headlines this cycle, but there are also many legislative seats up for grabs, both in the House and Senate. Right now, the main question floating around is, will the Democrats pick up more seats this year to end the supermajority? Tonight, our Matt Carmack dives into some of the Yellowstone County races on this year's ballot and the impact those results could have across the state.
Yellowstone County could very much be a deciding factor in this upcoming election. Currently in the Montana State Legislature, Republicans make up a supermajority, meaning they make up over 2/3 of the population. However, with the upcoming 2025 legislative session, both parties believe that Democrats may kick some Republicans out of their seats.
I would say your county, Yellowstone County, is probably the most important county.
The most important county in a hot and closely watched election. An election that Montana Republican Party Chair Don Kalschmidt believes could put Democrats in Republican state legislature seats, meaning they lose their supermajority or the ability to challenge decisions made by the governor.
We're still going to have our majorities more than likely. We may have less majority, of course.
The reason? New redistricting lines drawn for this election. An independent commission draws the lines every 10 years based on the census. In Yellowstone County, there are currently 20 House and Senate Republicans, compared to just 4 Democrats. But with new state lines, these numbers can change.
We've suffered through their gerrymandering, but I think it's ridiculous because no matter which way the maps were drawn up, it was going to be a long, hard-fought battle for Democrats to pick up any seats.
Becky Riedel with the Democratic Party brought up the word gerrymandering. That means those state lines could be biased towards one party or another. This upcoming legislative session, Republicans believe the Democrats have the upper hand.
Gerrymandering and disenfranchising those conservative voters that have been in a district, and now they'll end up with a legislature that doesn't represent their needs.
Yellowstone County is a diverse region, combining both rural and urban elements. According to the Republican Party, could mean misrepresentation.
We don't think it's fair to the people of Montana, who happen to be overwhelmingly Republican. But the point is, we're talking about rural and urban.
But for the Democrats, could mean a win.
I don't see us having a big landslide, but I do see us picking up a seat or two, and we've worked very, very strategically and hard this year.
We'll see next week if that strategy worked. In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Montana U.S. Senator Steve Daines says regardless of how well Republicans do in their bid to take back control of the U.S. Senate, he will not be running for party leader. Daines told the news website Semaphore he'd made a firm decision not to seek the position left open by retiring leader Mitch McConnell. He said he wants to spend more time with his family and in Montana. After 2 years leading the nationwide Republican campaign to win back a Senate majority, Daines has become a close ally of former President Donald Trump. National reports said Trump had encouraged him to run for Senate leadership. Daines will be up for re-election here in Montana in 2026. The 2024 presidential candidates are continuing their final push towards Election Day. Both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump making stops in swing states today. The two candidates trying to win over any undecided voters before heading to the ballot box. Natalie Brand is in Pennsylvania with the latest.
Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris both started the day in North Carolina, holding dueling rallies within 60 miles of each other.
Raleigh! Are we ready to do this?
Well, thank you very much, North Carolina. You are a special group of people.
In Rocky Mount, Trump attacked Harris, targeting President Biden for seeming to call Trump supporters garbage.
My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't.
The White House says President Biden was referring to the comedian who made racist jokes at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally. Harris told reporters she disagreed with any criticism of people based on who they vote for, and during her rally in Raleigh, argued it is Trump who hates his opponents.
Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table.
Both Harris and Trump will also campaign in Wisconsin tonight, with Harris first making a stop in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Polling shows the Keystone State a virtual tie, the biggest electoral prize of all the battlegrounds. We are in Bucks County, a key swing area outside Philadelphia, where voters are divided.
I believe in her policies versus her candidate, which is not my choice.
I like the fact that when he was president, He stood behind the stuff he promised to do, and he made an attempt to do it.
The Trump campaign today said it's suing Bucks County, alleging voters were turned away Tuesday after facing long lines on the last day to apply for mail-in ballot voting.
Yes, we were told it was a long line, a long wait. So they asked us to fill out a form to do a mail-in ballot. But we had to come back today between 1 and 5, which might not work for everyone.
A Pennsylvania judge ruled to extend the deadline to Friday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Still to come on the MTN 430 News here on Q2. Always running. A Billings man completes a true marathon milestone, running one in every U.S. state. We'll meet him in just a bit. But first, it was a pleasant, little chilly weather day here in Billings, at least to start things off. Our changes in store. It has the full 7-day forecast right after the break.